Imagine landing in China, expecting noodles, rice, dumplings, normal food. Then suddenly, you walk into a street and smell grilled meat, fresh bread, spices, smoke. And for a second, it doesn't feel like the China people usually imagine. Because hidden across China, there's an entire world of halal food. And trust me, some of it looks so good, you forget what country you're in. Today, we're exploring the best halal food in China, and by the end, you'll probably add at least one of these places to your travel list. But before we start, subscribe if you enjoy discovering food and places most people never talk about. Now, come hungry. First stop, Lanzhou beef noodles. Simple name, ridiculous reputation. At first, it doesn't look complicated. Clear broth, fresh noodles, sliced beef, herbs, chili, that's it. But then you see them making it. Fresh dough, pulled by hand, again and again, until one piece becomes long noodles. Fast, precise, almost hypnotic. People stand and watch even before ordering, because somehow watching the noodles feels like part of the meal. And then the bowl arrives. Hot steam, rich aroma, fresh noodles. And suddenly, you understand why people line up for this. The broth feels clean, the beef feels simple, but together it becomes impossible to stop eating. And maybe that's why this became one of China's most famous halal dishes. And the strange thing, something that looks so simple takes years to master. But somehow, this isn't the most surprising thing, because the next place feels completely different. Xi'an. If food had a smell, this city would smell like grilled meat and spices. And the first thing you notice is the sound. Skewers cooking, people calling, smoke filling the air. And then you see it. Lamb skewers, rows of them, covered in spices, cooked over open fire. Simple food, big flavor. And maybe that's what makes it dangerous. One skewer becomes 3, 3 becomes 10. People keep ordering, and somehow nobody regrets it. And the best part, you don't sit for long. You eat, walk, order again. Street food energy, everything moving, everything alive. But grilled food isn't the only reason people come here, because Xi'an has another halal favorite. Roujiamo, sometimes called the Chinese burger. But honestly, that description doesn't feel fair. Fresh bread, slow-cooked meat, juices soaked into every bite, crispy outside, soft inside. And somehow, something so simple feels unforgettable. People grab one, keep walking, and immediately want another. And maybe the strangest part, outside China, most people never even hear about it. But now, we're going somewhere different, because this next food doesn't look dramatic until you try it. Yangrou Paomo. At first, you receive bread and soup, separate. That's it. Then something unexpected happens. You break the bread yourself, piece by piece, small pieces, drop them into the soup, and slowly everything changes. The bread absorbs flavor, texture changes. The whole meal becomes something completely different. It feels less like fast food and more like an experience. People actually take time doing it. Not because they have to, but because it feels part of the tradition. And maybe that's why people remember it. Not because it's flashy, but because eating it feels different. But now we're going further west, because the next food feels like China and somewhere else at the same time. Xinjiang style food. Open grills, fresh bread, huge portions, heavy spices. And one thing appears everywhere. Big plate chicken. This isn't normal chicken. Massive plate. Chicken, potatoes, spices, wide noodles. Everything mixed together, made for sharing. And when it arrives, people stop talking, because nobody expects the portion. You look at it and immediately realize this isn't food for one person. And somehow, that makes it even better. Everyone reaches in. Everyone tries something. Nobody leaves hungry. And somehow, the food feels comforting even if you've never had it before. And maybe that's what makes halal food in China so interesting. It surprises you. You expect one thing and find something completely different. You expect familiar China and discover another side completely. And we're only getting started, because the next foods get even more unexpected. One of them might become your favorite. Let's keep going. But now, things start getting more unexpected. Because the next foods don't just taste different, they feel like discovering another version of China, and this first one might surprise people the most. Da Pan Ji, big plate chicken, Xinjiang. At first, it arrives, and you think they brought food for the whole table. Huge plate, chicken, potatoes, wide noodles, rich sauce, spices, everything mixed together. And somehow, it keeps looking bigger the longer you stare at it. This isn't the type of meal people rush. People gather around it, take pieces, talk, keep eating. And the strange part, the flavor doesn't feel exactly like what people imagine Chinese food tastes like. There's something different, more warmth, more spice, more comfort. And maybe that's what makes Xinjiang food unforgettable. It feels familiar, even when it's completely new. And the best part? You don't eat this quietly. Someone always says, "I'm full," then keeps eating anyway. And somehow, there's always food left, until suddenly, there isn't. That's the type of meal this becomes. But somehow, the next food feels even simpler, and that's exactly why people love it. Bread, naan, simple, round, golden. But don't underestimate it. Fresh naan feels different. Crispy edges, soft center, fresh from hot ovens. And people eat it with everything. Meat, tea, soup, street food, long trips. You start seeing it everywhere. And maybe that's why people love it. Not because it's complicated, but because good bread almost never fails. And somehow, watching it being made becomes part of the experience. Fresh dough, fast hands, hot oven. Seconds later, fresh bread. Simple things done well always feel satisfying. And once you start noticing it, you realize people aren't buying bread because they're hungry. Sometimes they're buying it because it smells impossible to ignore. But now, we're going back to the streets, because this next food smells impossible to ignore. Kawap, Xinjiang-style kebabs. This isn't quiet cooking. Smoke, fire, rows of skewers, people waiting, fresh spices falling over hot meat. And suddenly, the entire street smells different. Lamb, cumin, heat. Simple combination, dangerous result. And maybe what makes these different is how direct they feel. No heavy sauces, no complicated presentation, just fire and flavor. People order, eat, order again, and somehow nobody leaves with one skewer. And maybe that's because food cooked in front of you always feels better. You watch it happen, you smell it, you wait, and by the time it reaches your hands, you're already hungry. And then something strange happens. You tell yourself, one more. And somehow, one more becomes four. That's street food logic. But now, we're trying something people outside China almost never talk about. Tang bao, soup dumplings. Except, halal versions exist in some regions, and the first time people try them, they usually make the same mistake. They bite immediately. Bad idea. Because inside, hot soup. Actual soup inside the dumpling. So people learn quickly. Small bite, steam escapes, then eat. And somehow, something so simple feels surprising every single time. You expect a dumpling, you get something completely different. And maybe that tiny surprise is what makes people remember it. Because good food isn't always the loudest. Sometimes it's the thing you didn't expect. But now, we're ending with something that might become the most memorable. Because this isn't flashy, this isn't dramatic, this is comfort. Milk tea, Xinjiang style. Warm, creamy, simple. Sounds ordinary until you try it. Because after grilled meat, after noodles, after spices, something warm and calm suddenly feels perfect. People sit, slow down, talk talk, and enjoy the moment. No rush, no giant portions, just taking a break. And maybe that's the thing people don't expect about halal food in China. It isn't trying to impress you. It isn't trying to look expensive. It just quietly becomes unforgettable. You arrive expecting one version of China and leave realizing there were entire flavors nobody told you about. Places, recipes, food traditions, entire experiences hidden behind what most people expect. And maybe that's the best kind of travel. Finding something you weren't even looking for. Finding food that completely changes your expectations. So tell me, which food are you trying first? And what country should we explore next? If you enjoyed this, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.